If you're somebody looking to learn the best moves, strategies, and ways to play Smash, well, today's sponsor, Pro Guides, will kind of help you out. I've been working with them for a while now and can say that they're one of the best ways to get into Smash from beginner to intermediate level, with guides on how to do stuff like wave dashing, landing, to juggling, and much more. They've been known for their course on Zero for the past few months, which is great by all means, but I've also been told the new guides are coming out soon for other pro players. They have a varied amount of content and are even starting a 24/7 coaching program soon, which will be perfect for people wanting to learn the game more. Overall, I hope you guys can check them out in the description below and maybe give them a try if they sound useful. Welcome back to the second part of the worst moves for every single character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, if you want to check out the first part, that is going to be the top right screen right now, so I definitely recommend to check that out before this one. And I'm also going to say right here, yeah, I definitely did make an oopsie. Samus's jab is 100% worse than her up air. I literally completely forgot it exists. It is that bad. With that in mind, today we're going to be talking about the third to fourth row of characters, talking about all their worst moves in my own personal opinion, and with that in mind, let's just get going. I feel like overall Mewtwo has a lot of actually really good moves, and while some of them were definitely nerfed in the last game, in general I don't really see a 100% worst move on this character, so I'm going with a bit of a cop out here, that being his tail. His tail is just so bad, and it gives him a bigger hitbox at all times, makes him way worse in disadvantage. It just makes so people can combo him way too easily, and you could also apply that to a lot of his moves, from his back air, to his up air, to his forward tilt, to his down tilt, to his up tilt. These all give him a bigger hitbox, you can trade with them super easily, and if you have a sword, well, Mewtwo in a lot of cases is just kind of screwed. Overall, just one of those things that isn't, I guess, one specific move, but a lot of moves that make him a lot worse, and I don't know why they did this, but it hurts him a ton. I would say again for both these sword fighters, like Lucina and Marth, that potentially their counter is their worst move because it is just way too specific, but I did outlaw counters, so there we go, not going to talk about that. So with Roar and Chrom, at least starting off with Roar, I'm going to say that either his down smash or his down air is probably his worst move, and for myself, I'm going to go with down air because while down smash isn't really utilized that often, and most of the time you just would go for a forward smash instead of a down smash, or a down tilt instead of a down smash. His down air is just way too hard to hit. It takes way too long to start up, and while it looks so cool if you happen to hit it and get the spike with it, yeah, it just is a little bit too inconsistent, especially when compared to literally all of his other moves, which are pretty much all great. Now, I would also say right here that, of course, with Chrom, his best move and worst move were all mixed into one, that being his up B, because while it is one of the biggest damaging moves in the game, one of the best combo moves in the game, it also happens to kill you at like 0 if you get hit out of it, or someone uses a counter out of it on you near the edge of the stage. It's just very, very bad in a lot of situations, and kind of holds Chrom back. Overall, a really awkward move because it is so good and so bad, but on Chrom, yeah, his up B probably is his worst one as well. Okay, so if I'm not a memer here, and I have to be honest, I'm sorry to say this Game & Watch mains, but his side B is probably his worst move because it's just inconsistency, the move. You could potentially never get anything out of this. You could use it 200 times and get ones every single time. Yeah, it does sometimes give you a kill at like 0%, but in general, you won't see it being used way too much. Its hitbox is kind of small, and while it is a good meme, that's kind of all it is. As I was saying in the best moves video, Meta Knight doesn't really have that many great moves, but he also doesn't really have that many bad moves. They're all just kind of pretty good. And I feel like the most pretty good move is going to be his forward tilt, because it's kind of just like a worse snake forward tilt, but not that much worse. It doesn't really kill, doesn't really do that much damage, doesn't really have that much range, but it does do enough damage. It does kill at early enough percents, and you can potentially use it. Overall, not that great of a move, but not really useless. Like Meta Knight just doesn't really have that many bad moves, but he also doesn't really have any broken moves, which is a little bit disappointing in a cast of characters with a lot of broken moves. Now, if I had to talk about his worst move, it would probably be something like his up throw, but I want to mention that, yeah, every single character's throws probably do consult their worst move because everybody has a useless throw. So if I want to talk about one of his moves, it's probably going to be his down B, mainly because his side B is already a reflector, already applies a lot more pressure, and as well, his down B is just a little bit too slow to be that great of a reflector. It does its job, so, you know, it's not really that bad of a move, but you don't really need it on this character. Zero actually has a ton of broken moves, but also a ton of really bad moves, so, I mean, it's kind of weird. You could say that potentially Zero's throw is their worst move because it doesn't actually lead into anything, which kind of sucks. You could also potentially say the up tilt, which looks like a combo move, which doesn't actually combo, is the worst move. But I'm going to say that Zero's down tilt is going to be your worst move, mainly because, like Captain Falcon, there's no actually great reason to use it over the forward tilt. It's just like a less safe, less rewarding version of forward tilt, which doesn't lead into tech chases. I don't know why they have this type of move on so many characters, but at least for me, I feel like I never see anyone like Marv's use it, and just kind of disappointing. Orio's down smash does literally nothing. It doesn't even really cover rolls that well. You'd rather use forward tilt on ledge. You can't really kill with this move. You can't really lead into this move, and whenever you could, you should probably lead into like a forward tilt or a forward smash instead. Overall, not that great at all. We're here back again with another down tilt, that being snakes. It's another one that just kind of doesn't do that much. Now, I will say that it is more useful for Snake, mainly for the fact that he doesn't have a poking tool with his forward tilt, like someone like Zero Suit Samus. But still, it doesn't really lead to that much for him. It doesn't really do that much for him. It doesn't really kill, doesn't really set up to much. It's there, you can use it, but considering that you have stuff like dash attack, like up tilt, like jab, that are all amazing moves from the ground, you won't see it used that often. You could say Ike's up B, his recovery is his worst move, but I feel like his side B kind of carries that recovery to not being that unusable because you can just use it situationally. You could say Ike's neutral B is his worst move because there's not that many situations you can use it, but it's okay on ledge as a ledge trapping tool. And you could say Ike's down smash is his worst move because it is a little bit too laggy. But on the other side of the coin, it is actually a little bit stronger than Lucina's and almost as fast. So I feel like it's kind of an underrated move. The one move, though, that probably isn't that great as Ike, as always, is going to be his downer, like Roy. It's just one of those moves that takes too long to come out, it's too hard to hit. And while this one, I feel like, is a little bit better than Roy's because it can kill a bit early if you hit the sour spot, it's still not that great, especially compared to all of the rest of his moves. You know, the worst move for Pokemon Trainer is probably going to be his down B's Ivysaur because Charizard's just so bad, is what I know you guys are going to say in the comment section down below because I've seen it in the best move video. I know it's a meme, but yeah, I had to pull one on you. Anyways, if I'm going to be honest here, Pokemon Trainer's worst move probably does actually come from Charizard. Charizard just has a lot of very unusable moves in neutral, and, you know, you could pick just so many of his moves. For myself, I'm just going to pick the move that is the most disappointing, that being his forward air. Now, this move can potentially kill, but that's kind of it, and in the last game, it was so good. It was actually a good combo starter, a good combo tool. It was safe to land on your opponent's shield. You could auto-cancel it super easily. It was great at everything, and they just nerfed it into oblivion. I really hope they buff this in the newest patch. It's not a bad move, I guess, but compared to what it was, it is so bad. Diddy Kong's down smash is a lot like Wario's, where there's just not that many situations to use it. If you hit your opponent with a banana, you want to get an up smash or you want to get a forward smash. Down tilt, you want to up smash or a forward smash. Down smash just doesn't really do that much. It doesn't even really cover ledge nearly as well as something like forward smash, and its reward really isn't that great. Overall, a move that you'll just almost never see. With Lucas, in my opinion, his worst move has got to be his down throw, because in the previous game, this move was so good. It led to just him being a good character, honestly. With all of his throws killing and then his down throw leading to combos, it kind of made Lucas. But in this game, his down throw just doesn't really combo that well, like at all, at like any percents. Sometimes you can get some combos off of it, but that's kind of it. And for it being such a crucial part about the character in the previous game and kind of being ignored in this game, it really does hurt me a lot. Like, I feel like doesn't actually have any bad moves in concept, but in this game, for some reason, a few of his moves just don't work. And I don't feel like they're bad moves. Again, in concept, I wouldn't even put them bad at all. But moves like his up tilt doesn't work sometimes. Forward air sometimes just doesn't work anymore. And especially up air. For some reason, people fall out of up air all of the time now. It is super inconsistent. Even though it's actually one of his best moves in concept and in the last game, it just doesn't really work that well anymore. Please buff this move. Please fix it. Sonic, you need some help. Yeah. King Deity's down B is just such a situational move. Like Kirby's side B, there's just almost no time to use this because, I mean, if you do go for it and you miss, you're pretty much going to get hard punished and die. If you use it and your opponent just happens to have half a brain and jumps, it's not going to be usable at all. If your opponent has a projectile, it's not usable at all. And even if you get a shield break, a lot of times it's just easier to go for forward smash, which I think might potentially kill easier. Not exactly sure on that, but yeah, there's just not really that much use for this move. Super unsafe. The super armor isn't really that great by itself either. And yeah, you should almost never use this. All of Olimar's tilts aren't that amazing because mainly, of course, he focuses on using his Pikmin and they don't use his Pikmin. But specifically, I'm going to say his forward tilt is probably his worst one because while his down tilt isn't that great, at least it can low profile stuff and can kind of combo. And up tilt can as well combo, and jab's all right. But yeah, forward tilt, I mean, it's just like a kill move that's kind of slow. That's kind of like a Nest forward tilt, but a little bit worse. And why would you use that when you got forward smash and down smash? That's kind of how it is. Lucario is another one of those characters that doesn't actually have a shining flaw as one of his worst moves. Now, you could say his counter again, but I'm not going to mention that here. So I would say that potentially either his forward tilt or his down tilt is probably his worst move. And I feel like forward tilt does have some potential to kill with rage, so it's okay in that sense. While down tilt just never really does that much, doesn't really lead into anything. I think it's an okay poke tool, but when you have a lot of other moves that are just stronger that can lead to more stuff from Lucario, you don't see it way too much. Not really a bad move, but not really a good move. Rob's forward tilt, at least pre-patch, was okay by comparison to a lot of his other moves. But post-patch, it's just so worthless now because you have his down tilt, which can lead into his jab, which can lead into like 50% with their Robble. Or you have a forward tilt, which does like 10%, and that's it. And Yeah, I mean, it's just like, what would you rather use? And they're both kind of as safe as each other. They're both used in a similar situation. Forward tilt does have a bit more range, but the risk versus reward, down tilt has so much more reward now compared to the risk. It always kind of has, but especially now, forward tilt just kind of doesn't have that much use. Yeah. For Toon Link's worst moves, he has a few decent options. His neutral air is just kind of not nearly as good as Link's or Young Link's when you compare them, so you could say that. Some of his smashes could kill a bit earlier. I don't know, they're alright. But I feel like his down air is just by far his worst move, because while Link and Young Link both have the option to just use their down air either to kill off the top of the stage or the side of the stage or to spike your opponent, with Toon Link you're using down air and you're dying with that down air no matter what. It doesn't really lead in anything if you use it on the stage, so really its only use is to use off stage to spike your opponent, to kill your opponent. And while it does kill, I think, a little bit earlier than the other two links, the risk is so much higher and the reward is pretty much exactly the same. So yeah, it's just kind of a worse version of the move. It is pretty hype when it hits, but yeah. Okay, so thinking about it, Wolf has actually 0 bad moves. I mean, you look at all of his moves and they're all good. And I can't even think of a bad move for this character, so I feel like, I guess the worst move for this character will have to be his recovery, because it did get nerfed in the last patch. It is a lot easier to challenge now. It doesn't have that much range, but it still is decent. You know, it still can potentially screw your opponent out of a few stocks. You still can angle it in a lot of ways to recover, but, you know, it's not that amazing. So compared to other recoveries, as I would say, it is, you know, pretty bad recovery. And when you compare it to all of his other moves, which are all so good, yeah, it's probably his worst one. Villager overall is just kind of underwhelming in this game because he just doesn't really do that much damage. Most people got extras, just stuff for their character, while Villager didn't really. And in the DLC in Smash 4, he started to become a little bit weaker. And in this game, with everyone essentially becoming Smash 4 DLC level, Villager just kind of keeps falling in his power level compared to everybody else. Now, his worst moves are probably, first off, his grab. Just way too slow, doesn't really lead to way too much. Not the best. Secondly, we got his down smash. This move just kind of doesn't do that much for the character. It does ground, which is great, and does lead into forward smash, but it doesn't really feel that cohesive, and that's what we've been hearing in the comments. And then finally, we got his downer, which in my opinion is probably his worst one, because A, you need RNG for this to spike, B, the hitbox isn't that good in the first place, and C, even if you get the 3 turnip RNG spike, it still doesn't do that much. It still doesn't kill that early, considering how specific it is to actually hit this. Yeah, I think it is just kind of one of the most disappointing moves. I feel like Mega Man kind of has an inherent problem where he has to have 3 of the same move, and that just kind of limits the possibility of other moves he could have had, and that's going to be his jab, his neutral air, and his forward tilt. Now, while these moves aren't necessarily bad at all, they kind of just make Mega Man as a character, I feel like one of them should have probably been changed. Now, if it was my opinion, I'd say potentially jab or forward tilt, because they just do the same thing. Now, I know it would be kind of awkward to have to, like, jab, and then maybe you hold it and you walk forward, while if you don't hold it, you just stay in place. That would be kind of awkward, but if they could just give him a different move, I feel like that would just be more interesting. Again, maybe it would make him a little awkward to play. Maybe I'm thinking way outside the box right here. But I feel like just having 3 of the same move kind of makes at least one of them not that useful. It has a ton of jank moves that are good in certain situations, but in general, not that great. Her neutral air can be okay, but a little bit too unsafe. Of course, up smash can be good to combo into, but not that great of range. Down smash, kind of hard to hit as well. But the move that I feel like is just the most jank as Wii Fit, and can be good, but most of the time it's pretty bad, is going to be her forward air. Now, this move is just kind of bad because it hits at such a specific angle. It doesn't really kill that early. It combos okay, but neutral air usually just combos better. The back hit, which is your foot, can kill, but it's way easier to kill with down air or with side B or with literally anything else. And overall, it's a move that I wish was just like a smack in front of you instead of this weird pointing out your hand. Kind of disappointing. Rosaline in general just kind of feels like a worse version of her from the past, just kind of does less damage in general, less knockback in general, but in general she still does have good moves kind of all across the board. I can't really think of a single bad tilt or single bad aerial or bad smash that has absolutely no use. They're all decent enough. Without Luma, they're not the best, but they're all decent enough. But the worst move for me is going to be her down B. Now, the reason for this is because it is so specific in order to be useful. Now, normally it's just okay because you can use it against projectile spammers, and you know, that's completely fine. It does have a lot of lag, but you know, it's fine. But the problem is, it doesn't even really reflect projectiles back at your opponent, so it doesn't give you that potential benefit like a lot of other reflectors. And the main benefit of this is that it'll grab items. The only problem being, most characters don't actually throw items, they throw projectiles. So unless you're playing in casual Smash, it doesn't do way too much. It's good against items, but that's kind of it. You can't combo out of max down tilt at all anymore, which is super disappointing. Max up tilt doesn't combo into itself anymore, which doesn't make any sense and is super disappointing. Some of his tilts aren't very consistent anymore, which is kind of disappointing. And of course, if you hit Mac out of a side B, he pretty much instantly dies. But those aren't even the bad parts of this character, which is amazing. The bad parts are all of his aerials, because his forward air, completely useless. You hit on your opponent, they can actually hit you after you hit them. I don't know why, but you can. His back air, which I have gotten some edge guards with, so it's not that bad, still doesn't really do anything. His neutral air can kind of be a meme and can kind of combo into some tilts, mainly jab. But that's kind of it, and his hitbox is just horrendous. His up air, I don't even know what you're supposed to use with this move. Completely useless against people that are just staying on platforms. Completely useless in almost all situations. Falling up air is such a funny meme. And down air, 0% chance to gimp with this move. Absolutely useless. Would rather just go near the ledge, use a down smash. Definitely his worst move. You have to risk your life to make this any use of all. And even if you hit it, it doesn't spike very well. What is going on with Mac in the air? It's just so useless. I don't know. This character in the air, though, all of those are his worst moves, specifically his down air. So useless. Anyways, those are going to be the worst moves on every single character, part 2. If you want to check out the first part, it'll be at the top right of the screen right now, or the best moves can also be at the top right screen right now. Now, if I were you, I'd definitely hit the subscribe button, because in the future, we're going to be seeing Bayonetta, which is just going to be so fun to talk about. It'll be Little Mac 2.0. As well, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to share it with your friends, I guess. Comment down below what moves you thought I got right, what moves you think I got wrong. Of course, talking about the worst moves, I think in general is a little bit harder, because, there are a lot of different options. So, I just kind of want to give my own opinion. With that all said, guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a smashing day.